audience. Once upon a time in the kingdom of Agbo, located in the far, far south, there was a very beautiful young woman called Uzoamaka. She was dark in complexion and her skin had a rich melanin color. Her hair was long and jet black, and she always had it in beautifully parted cornrows, which helped expose the high forehead, which was a very visible part of her feature, and this overall made her very attractive. Uzoamaka had a very captivating smile, which was warm and genuine, and this added to her friendly nature made people even like her naturally. Uzoamaka was married to Chiemeka, to whom she had been married to for 10 years, and they'd been trying to bear a child, all to no avail. Over time, Uzoamaka became a shadow of herself, as women who were in her age group and those who got married around the same time as she did already had children for their husbands. But her case was different, and this earned her the disrespect of the women in Agbo. There was even a time that Oluchi, the fisherman's wife, who was Uzoamaka's childhood friend, humiliated her in a women's village meeting by calling her an infertile swan, as she was beautiful but had nothing to show for all the beauty she possessed. However, Uzoamaka's childlessness was always a cause for concern for her and even her mother, as they have tried various means to get her to conceive, all to no avail. All the medicine men in Agbo were very familiar with Uzoamaka's case, as she has visited them all and offered sacrifices of goats, cows, and even chickens. Still yet, she did not have a child to show for it, neither a miscarriage or even a stillbirth to prove her womb could at least harbor a child. On one occasion, Uzoamaka, in her pursuit to have a child, was baited with the warm blood of a freshly slaughtered she-goat, which was poured on her head. And as this blood gradually trickled down her body, she began to cry, because it seemed like her predicament of childlessness would never come to an end. Uzoamaka goes through a broad range of sacrifices with a view to solve her barrenness, but all these efforts always proved abortive. Some of the medicine men deliberately misled her and turned to provide ridiculous solutions just to extort her. Despite the childlessness that plagued Uzoamaka and her husband Chiemeka, they still loved and respected each other, and Chiemeka continued to encourage Uzoamaka not to give up, as fate would definitely smile upon them one day, and their ancestors would give them a child of their own. Months after months, Uzoamaka hoped for the day a monthly flow will cease, as this will herald the coming of a child. Yet, she kept getting disappointed every time, and her sadness worsened. She became a shadow of herself, as she cried all the time and even refused to eat most times due to her barrenness. Being that no situation is permanent, one day, the ancestors decide to smile on Uzoamaka and her husband by answering their long plea for a child. And this happened in the most unexpected way. On one of Uzoamaka's many trips to the stream to get water, on her way back, she saw a lame man close to the stream who needed a drink of water badly, but he could not help himself to get water because he could not walk. As he saw her approaching with a pot of water balanced on her head, he asked Uzoamaka for a sip of water, and being the warm and genuine person she was, she gave him some water without hesitation. The lame man thanked Uzoamaka and she continued on her way. After walking about a few steps, Uzoamaka took a backward glance towards the man and she discovered he had disappeared. She became so scared and started to run as fast as her legs could carry her because she believed she had just encountered an evil spirit. Unknown to Uzoamaka, the man she encountered at the stream was the spirit of one of her ancestors who came to test her to see if she would ignore him or show him mercy, which she did. And this made her pass the first out of 3 tests her ancestors had in store for her before they granted her wish for a child of her own. Uzoamaka, who did not know she was being tested by the gods, later that evening told her husband about the scary encounter she had with a man at the stream, and he reassured her not to be afraid, as she has done a good thing, so no harm will definitely come to her. The second test assigned to Uzoamaka by her ancestors without her knowledge was her encounter with the village leprous man who begged for alms and who no one wanted to associate with because he had the flesh-eating disease which the villagers believed they would contract if they touched him. So rather than give him money or food by hand, they stood at a distance and threw it to him. Uzoamaka, on one of the village market days, went to sell her farm produce as she usually does. And as she packed up the remaining goods to close for the day, the leprous man approached her and begged her for some leftover bananas she did not finish selling. And instead of throwing it at him like other villagers do, Uzoamaka took pity on him, and due to her kind-heartedness and knowing how people stigmatized her for her barrenness and how it made her feel, she instead walked up to him and gave it to him by hand. And this made the leprous man shed a tear because, despite his condition, someone came close to him. And this singular act, unknown to Uzoamaka, was approved by her ancestors, which made her pass a second test unknowingly again. Uzoamaka, though constantly worried about her barrenness, did not give up hope that one day she will have a child of her own. And unknown to her, she had one more test to undergo. One night, as Uzoamaka slept, she had a dream in which she was walking on a bush path as she saw a very little girl crying because she was lost. Uzoamaka then stopped to ask her the whereabouts of her parents. Then the little girl told her how she got separated from her grandmother on the way to the farm because she was playing behind, and that was how she got lost. Uzoamaka then promised to help her find her grandmother's farm, and they continued on a path that eventually brought them to an old woman's farm who happened to be the girl's grandmother. and who was already worried sick for her only grandchild who had lost both of her parents. Immediately the little girl saw her grandmother, she ran to embrace her and explained how Uzoamaka, the very kind-hearted lady, had helped her when she was lost. The grandmother then thanked Uzoamaka and told her that for the kindness she had shown, she will be duly rewarded. The old woman then entered her farm hut and came out with a white calabash and told Uzoamaka to make a wish, and whatever she wanted would be granted to her. Uzoamaka, who for the longest time had wanted a child, closed her eyes and wished with all her heart and mind for a son, which she could call her own. Then immediately she opened her eyes, the old woman told her her wish has been heard, and immediately the little girl and old woman disappeared. This startled Uzoamaka, and she immediately woke up with a scream, scaring her husband, who woke up immediately as well. She then narrated her dream to him, and he reassured her not to be afraid, and it was just a dream. Helping the little girl in her dream, however, made Uzoamaka complete and pass all 3 tests her ancestors had set for her without her knowledge. They therefore granted her a wish for a child. Uzoamaka, after a few months, started showing signs of a pregnant woman, but she was too scared to tell anyone, not even her husband and her mother, because she was not sure and didn't want to disappoint them with false news. After a while, Uzoamaka's mother noticed the pregnancy signs in her daughter and persuaded her to go to the village midwife to confirm if she was truly pregnant. And the visit was fruitful, as Uzoamaka was confirmed pregnant by the village midwife. Uzoamaka carried her pregnancy till full term, and she gave birth to a very handsome baby boy who had lots of hair like his mother, and he also looked exactly like his father. The couple were overjoyed at the birth of their child. They threw one of the biggest party Agbo Kingdom has ever seen. People had lots to eat and drink, as 7 cows, 4 goats, and a few chickens were slaughtered. And these animals were used for preparing ngwongwo, abacha, nkwobi, and oha soup, accompanied with soft fufu. The villagers ate to their heart content and even still had excess food to take home. And this made Uzoamaka's child naming ceremony the talk of the village for many seasons to come. Uzoamaka and Chiemeka named their son Kamsiyochukwu, which means God gave me exactly as I asked. The new family lived happily ever after, as they also made sacrifices to the gods for letting fortune smile on them. The end. The morals of our story are to never give up hope even when all seems lost. Always remember that nothing lasts forever, and no matter the challenges you are going through, it will definitely pass, as there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Secondly, always do good to people, even though nobody is watching, because you never know who is watching. And the universe has a way of paying good with good and evil for evil likewise. Also, Married couples should learn how to support their spouses or their partners through any situation, because it is very important for us to help people overcome the challenges they face by giving them whatever support we are capable of. And finally, please do not forget to subscribe and like this video. Subscribe to the channel, as this helps other people come enjoy our stories. Dearest audience, till next time.